Okay, it worked.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going well, my sister. How are you?
I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm doing great. Okay, someone said they couldn't hear me and now they can. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, first of all, you guys, make sure you hit this little arrow if you're on live and go follow his page right away so you can get all of his goodness moving forward. And why don't you tell us about yourself, a little introduction to who you are and how you got to where you are now, and then we can get into it.
Sure. So I am what you called an awakened starseed. Ever since I was a kid, I felt like I didn't belong in this world. I felt different. I felt odd. Since I was 4 and 5, I was already communicating telepathically with animals, and I was reading people's thoughts. And so I knew that there was something different about everyone else because nobody else could do the same thing. What I mean by nobody else, it's like my siblings, my cousins, everybody thought I was weird. So my mother had the gift still. I believe my mother was also a starseed because she was she was an intuitive empath, and she would always talk to me about spirituality and reincarnation and the soul and stuff like that, you know. And so I was eventually I was forced to suppress my abilities because her mother, my grandmother, was very religious, and so for many years I suppressed my intuition, my abilities. And then one day when I was about 16, I started reading Plato's Republic and Pythagoras, and I was very, I guess, addicted to knowledge. You know, that's when I knew that I had something for learning, you know, for information. And I started reading Plato's Republic. I started reading Pythagoras, Socrates, and then I got into the 18th century philosophers. So imagine at 16, 17, and 18, reading college book textbooks, you know, college level, university level textbooks, political theory volume 1 and 2. And so what that did is that pretty much just made me hungry to want to know everything. So I started diving into the esoteric tradition. I learned about secret societies when I was only 17 and a half or 18. I learned about ancient mystery school teachings. And so at the age of 21, I discovered an ancient method called Kriya Kundalini Yoga. And then as a result of practicing Kriya Kundalini Yoga, all of a sudden my senses, my other, you know, senses beyond my 5 started activating again. And I started getting downloads. And then that's when they told me, Ishmael, you need to first write your first book, which is going to reveal the truth about secret societies and how we live in a matrix and how everything that has ever happened and transpired in this world was the intelligent design by these secret societies. Revealing the secret history of the earth. So I wrote my first book at the age of 25, which was really good. You know, a lot of people were actually still questioning a lot of things, but at the same time, people weren't as awake as they are now. Like, I mean, this was like 15 years ago, maybe 16. I shouldn't give my age, but you know, we really don't age. You know, I feel like I'm getting younger as I get older. But the whole point is, I wrote that book in a time where when Dan Brown had just published Demons and Angels in the Da Vinci Code, and so this whole concept of secret societies and ancient mysteries was like a new thing. And so I wrote that book right around the time when everybody was questioning, you know, what happened in September 1st, 2011. I don't want to say it, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so everybody was like thinking, wow, you must be a conspiracy theorist for writing such a book. You know, I called it the secret government, of course. You know. Of course, you know, it did well online. It was all about word by mouth, but I did get a lot of backlash because of the fact that back then a lot of people were still under the programming. But then I started downloading information about like the entire exopolitical connection to this whole thing and how everything that has been transpiring in this world was actually a trickle down drama that has been going on in our galaxy for millions of years. And then that's when I started receiving information about my life in Lyra. So that's when I discovered who I was. I was a Lyran from the star system of Vega, and I came from a planet called Avion, which was of course destroyed approximately 600 million years ago due to the first war with the reptilians of Orion of the Alpha Draconis system. And then that's when I started getting all these downloads about like what happened in the galaxy millions of years ago, way before Atlantis came into the scene, way before Lemuria. And yeah, you could say I fell deep into the rabbit hole. And that's what led to the research. Of course, I had to do the research to back up my downloads. I couldn't just write a book about galactic history and not do any research to back up my downloads. So I started researching the subject matter, and that's when I discovered that there was others out there like Dolores Cannon talking about this, about the, the three different waves of starseeds. Well, now we have the fourth wave, of course, and all of the kids that are coming in now are considered crystal. Then we had other pioneers like Planetary Activation Organization, Sheldon Niddle, who was like already talking about the Galactic Federation back in the 1990s, 1992, I think that's when, 1994, that's when he published his book. I started also researching about our sisters from the Pleiades, Barbara Marciniak and Barbara Handclough, and their take on what's going on, with these different extraterrestrial races. And then finally I said, all right, so this is all making sense. I'm not going crazy. I need to write this book. And so that's how our cosmic origin came about. Although, however, it did take me about 10 years because of the fact that I was only writing when I felt inspired. I couldn't just sit there in front of my laptop and just think of something to write. I had to write when my higher self, or what I call my galactic self, because I guess I was channeling information from my galactic self. That's when I realized that I was operating different avatars, because I do believe in this multidimensional existence, and how, here in this third dimension, where it's only a portion of our consciousness that is sufficient enough to operate this third dimensional body, whereas the other 97% or 98% of our consciousness is actually operating 11 other avatars all the way to the 12th dimension. I came to realize that. I came to realize that I was downloading information from my galactic self. So I don't call it channeling. I call it downloads. I call it transmissions, because again, it's coming from our higher, multidimensional selves. And then that's when I started writing the book. So I only wrote when I felt inspired, is what I'm saying. Like, I couldn't just sit there and try to write. So it took me 10 years because of the fact that there was times where I would put the manuscript aside, and I would go like 6 months to a year without even getting any downloads or transmissions for whatever reason. And it just sat there, So it took me about 10 years to write that book. But when it finally came together, revealing, it's not just galactic history. I mean, I talk about the multiverse, the organization of the multiverse. I talk about, I bridge the gap between quantum physics, like all the new evidence that is now coming through the field of quantum physics, archaeology, anthropology, and ancient metaphysical knowledge, and I bring back an ancient knowledge or ancient data that was kind of like suppressed or omitted from all records, due to the burning down of the Alexandrian library, and I bridge it all together in an attempt to explain pretty much everything. So that's how this book came about.
It's amazing. Your story is so... I love it. I love it so much. So you guys, everyone's asking, it's called Our Cosmic Origin. And make sure, like I said, if you're not following, if you follow him and you don't follow me, just tap this little arrow, follow both of us. And if you have questions, I see a lot of questions coming in. You can just put them in the little question box. So now we're going to get into how the earth is shifting. Mm-hmm. And some people are asking about the moon and stuff too. I don't know if you know much about full moon things happening. But why don't you tell us about the current situation on earth and this conjunction at this time?
Well, we are at a critical point. We are at the end of not only a 2,160-year cycle, which is Pisces ending, Aquarius beginning, and there's a lot of evidence coming from the realm of astrology that is indicating that, but we're also at the end of what is known as a 25,625-year cycle, which is the revolution of our solar system. Just like how the Earth and planets revolve around the star, well, it appears that our star also revolves around a greater star known as Alcyon, because we're part of a greater body of stars. A cluster of stars, rather, and every 25,625 years, we enter a phenomena that is called the photon belt. So we're there. It's actually according to science, from what they've been detecting, we've been entering this photon belt since 1987. And that's what they call the harmonic convergence. So they did say it takes about 40 to 45 years to fully be emerged. So when you think about the time, and you think about the real time-keeping systems like the Mayan calendar, which is, by the way, 12 years off. That's why nothing happened in 2012. Everything's supposed to happen now in 2024. Or at least it seems like things are heading in that direction with everything that's happening currently. But we are about to shift ages. And it's not the end of the world, people. That is BS, by the way. There is scientific evidence that this world has never ended. In fact, according to my discoveries, and as I revealed in my book, Our Cosmic Origin, we are part of the fifth seeding about to enter the sixth, called the root ray. So there was like, before Atlantis, there was Lemuria. Before Lemuria, there was Hyperborea. Before Hyperborea, there was Polaria. Polaria was actually the first great seeding, and that approximately took place 40 million years ago. So civilizations have actually existed on this planet for millions of years. And archaeologists are now starting to figure that out with all these relics that are, artifacts are just being dug up. There is so much evidence coming. So the times that we're living in now is so, it's just the best times ever, because not only are we about to shift ages, but we're also about to transform. As I speak, at a molecular cellular level of reality, our bodies are changing, our DNA is activating. In other words, we've only been using 4% of our full genetic material structure. The other 96%, which is what scientists call junk DNA, which is a term that they use, is actually bundling, and new codons and turning on, and new strands are coming back on. So it appears that for the last 10,000 years, 10 strands of our DNA were actually disconnected. And there is a reason for that, which I reveal in my book, of course, when the Anunnaki were on the earth. But there's also a history to the Anunnaki. A lot of people don't understand beyond the Psycho-Sitchin translations, like where do the Anunnaki come from? Of course, they come from the 12th planet called Nibiru. But what was the purpose of Nibiru? Where does Nibiru come from? Who created Nibiru? All those answers are in my book, of course, when I explain the galactic history. But the whole point is that we are approaching ascension, planetary ascension, when for the first time in the history of an entire Earth, an entire civilization, or at least the good people of the Earth, are going to be taking a free ride as the Earth ascends, because everything on the Earth, all living things, is ascending. So those that are actually adapting to these new energies that are coming in through our sun from the galactic core, these gamma ray frequencies, which is a new frequency, it's totally establishing a new grid pattern, which has been since 1987, and it's now almost complete. For those that are adapting to these new energies, which is the high elevated energies of love, compassion, brotherhood, freedom, those that are building the new earth, the light warriors, the light workers, those are going to be the first ones those are going to be the ones that are going to be ascending with the new earth. So as I speak right now, the earth is undergoing planetary ascension. So that's what's happening right now. Good things are unfolding ahead of us, of course.
I love it. I love, I don't know much about this stuff, so I'm super excited to be learning all this information from you. Of course, I've heard things, and I kind of look into it, but I'm going to read your book. So who else is going to do it with me? Will you guys smash the heart button and make sure you share with a friend?
Okay, so just so you guys know, I do have a second edition. The first edition was published about 1.5 years ago. This is the better version because I restructured it. This is the hardcover. Sorry about that. And then this is the hard copy. So it is a purple book now. Now, the reason this one is better, guys, is because I added a new chapter that reveals what happens after the ascension, which is very prophetic. Like this goes into what happens when the star seeds and the people of the earth begin to activate the dormant DNA. I mean, this is just the beginning for us, guys. We have a whole, our mission doesn't really start until after the ascension, you could say.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. I love it. So who is the Galactic Federation of the Free Worlds, and how are they helping us? Because we hear all these, references to different species and whatnot. So what is all of that about?
All right. So there is, so just how we have negative regressive ETs, right? We also have positive benevolent ETs. And what I mean by that is that the positive benevolent ETs live according to the principles of unity consciousness, which is service to others. They're all about living in harmony and bringing oneness to the cosmos, whereas the negative regressives are doing the opposite of that. They're all about service to self, manipulation, coercion, conquering, and just taking over planets and their resources like they own everything. And so the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. Now, let me distinguish, because there's a lot of confusion in the New Age community. There's there's so many different interstellar organizations. Like some people will talk about the Galactic Federation of Light, the Confederation of Planets, the Confederation or the Federation of Orion, the Iberian Council. I mean, there's so many different federations, but the original federation that was established by the advanced interstellar races that were trying to bring peace and harmony to the entire galaxy is called the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds, which was named after the original treaty that was established in Sirius B, when the higher dimensional beings from higher dimensions beyond our galaxy came to establish an interdimensional pact and treaty that became known as the Covenant of Palador. In other words, that was like the treaty that was signed by all these advanced civilizations from many universes, because our galaxy is part of an experiment, as is our local universe. As you know, there are multiple universes. So we are like, we're kind of like the completion of a cosmic experiment that is now coming to fruition. So this intergalactic alliance became known as the Intergalactic Alliance, an interdimensional alliance, because it doesn't encompass 15 dimensions. We do live in a 15-dimensional multiverse matrix of free worlds. And that's why the original federation within our galaxy, when it was established approximately 5 million years ago, it became known as the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. However, nowadays, people that are channeling different federations are actually getting information from imposters. So we do have to make a distinction, and we do have to have some discernment as to where our channeling is coming from, because there's a lot of negative regressive ETs that are posing as Galactic Federation of Light. So the Galactic Federation of Light is actually an imposter federation. The Confederacy of Orion is actually an imposter federation. There are just so many federations that are being channeled by certain members of the human race that believe that they're getting their information from good ETs. But the truth of the matter is that the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds is the only true federation. And, those are the only ones that are legit. Now, what is the difference? Okay, the difference is that the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds does not want to feel like, they don't want to be put on a pedestal. They don't believe in just showing up. They believe in working with certain members of the human race to raise the collective consciousness of the planet so that we could be ready to be reinstated back into the galactic community, because they do have universal and galactic laws that they follow, like the law of non-interference. And so that's the difference. And they also empower people. They empower people in a way where they inspire people to do the inner work, to do the shadow work, to go within and become a better version of themselves so that they could elevate their consciousness and ascend, because ascension is also personal. It's not just an external event. And then secondly, the fake federations are the ones that are trying to become humanity's savior. Like they're channeling information where it's like they're making people depend on them, just like how the religion organizations were doing it for thousands of years, right? They make you depend on an external savior, where they make you believe that some sort of savior is coming from the sky to save you, and that is false light. So there is a difference between the Galactic Federation of Light, which is false light, and the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds, which is here to pretty much inspire us so that we could become our own savior, so that we could become, activate the Christ mind, the higher chakras, so that we could ascend personally. So there is a difference. Yeah.
I love that. I'm like, that's kind of what we do on this page. Am I part of the Federation?
Well, believe it or not, a lot of the starseeds out down here on the Earth, because they are multidimensional beings, also operate from motherships. They're operating different avatars. So just because you have a physical body here in this human experience does not mean that you don't have any other avatars. Remember, our consciousness is so vast that it is able to simultaneously operate multiple avatars in multiple dimensions all at the same time. So yes.
Woo!
Yeah.
Something to think about. Oh my goodness. I have a lot to meditate on tonight. For the full moon. Okay, I love that. So who is the central race? And I've heard of the Emerald Order. What does that mean?
Okay, so remember how I was saying that the original treaty that was packed, that came from the higher dimensions into our local universe, that established themselves in the central sun, which was carried over and anchored by Sirius, that's known as the Emerald Order. The Emerald Order comes from what I call in my book the central universe, which is the realms, the always existing realms, the motherverse. The motherverse has never had a beginning or end. In fact, every universe, every local universe is an extension of the motherverse. So the local universes are experiments in time and space. They're what scientists call simulations, okay? And then the motherverse is what scientists call base reality. So the central race is really the original race. There's many names to describe them. They are the always eternal race that have never had a beginning or end. They come from the highest levels of reality, the highest dimensions, and they operate beyond the confines of time and space, beyond finite reality, in other words. So that's what the central race is. And according to my research, it is believed that what makes us so different and unique out of all the different galactic and extraterrestrial races is that we humans on the Earth are actually, especially the starseeds, we are the ones that are embodying the consciousness of the central race. For the first time in cosmic history, it is believed that these bodies that were designed for us by the cosmos, which are the most hybridized bodies in the multiverse, were actually designed for the very reasons of being able to anchor in the consciousness of the central race in order for us to connect with the realms of eternity. So this has never existed prior to us. The central race has never had physical form because they operate beyond any form. They're like just pure plasma, pure light, whatever you want to call it, pure consciousness. So that's the difference between our bodies and all the other bodies out there, all the extraterrestrials, is that our bodies were designed to be able to harbor the consciousness of the central race. So in a sense, they were us in the past, right, as we come from higher dimensions, and they're also going to be us in the future as we activate our dormant DNA and become the most powerful race in the cosmos.
I love it. And us going from, the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, makes sense why so many more people are into this kind of stuff and more accepting of it. Whereas, like you were saying when you were first writing your book, and people were kind of like, woo, 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 but now we're like, okay, this stuff is happening. People are noticing, and people are more open to the information. So I love that. Okay, why is the Earth the most important planet in the cosmos?
Because of the same reason why we are the most advanced and important race in the cosmos. Because the Earth, since its inception, was designed by the motherverse to become the epicenter, to become the hub of the multiverse. In other words, in its original conception, Earth was intended to become the intergalactic hub of all of creation. And what I mean by that is that we and our planet, we carry the best genetics, all the flora and fauna of all the different species out there, all the different life forms in the entire multiverse in one spot. So to the interstellar, galactic, and cosmic community, Earth is known as a living library. And, a lot of this information has been confirmed and validated by Barbara Marcionic, our Pleiadian sister, Barbara Handclough, and other people that have come forward to share information about how important the Earth is in the entire universe. It is the living library. It is the planet that was chosen to eventually become, the new headquarters world, the new throne of the entire multiverse, as the planet, of course, ascends and reunites with her higher spheres, because the Earth also exists on different spheres. There's different versions of the Earth as well. So that's why the Earth is the most important planet.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So let's talk about ascension. So there's a lot of artificial intelligence coming out and whatnot. And so what's the difference between organic ascension and then ascension when it comes to the AI kind of stuff?
Okay, so one of the biggest issues and problems that the entire multiverse has been facing is the inorganic time loops that were created by this AI menace that many negative ETs call the AI God. And so it's called, the AI time loop leads people's, it's an elimination of consciousness in order to trap people into this artificial inorganic timeline. So that is actually being played out in our world through what they call the transhumanist agenda. So that is their version of Human 3.0, is eventually integrating humanity with technology in order for humanity to become immortalized. And this is being done through big tech. So the difference between that and the organic timeline is that through the spiritual work that we're doing, through the activation of our dormant DNA, which is actually more powerful than any AI system. See, what I've come to discover, my friend, is that our bodies, because of the fact that we are the most advanced, we have the most advanced genetic coding, and we also have the God source codon, which allows us to access the realms of eternity. It's the most advanced, sophisticated organic quantum computer system, when we begin to activate our crystalline DNA, our double diamond, our hydroplasmic DNA, which goes beyond the 12 strands, it goes into 48 strands and eventually 144 strands, and that is the true meaning of 144,000. Has nothing to do with people, it has to do with DNA activation and gene expression. So we are the only race that is going to be able to surpass any other race that has ever existed. So because of the fact that we have that God source gene as the ultimate hybridized race, when we do activate our dormant DNA, we are going to have more powers than those humans that decided to go the lazy route and integrate with technology. In other words, we're going to be like beyond. Yeah. So that's the difference between the organic timeline and the inorganic timeline.
I think someone had asked, I don't know if it was Chat GPT or something, like that AI is going to be the downfall of all civilization. I'm like, that's interesting. I don't know if that's true, but just crazy stuff out there. Okay, so what does the future look like after we're ascending and all this kind of wraps itself up?
Okay, so for those that go into the ascending positive timeline, we are going to become superhuman. As our dormant DNA becomes activated, and we go beyond the 12 strands into 24, 36, 48, as we continue to activate even more of our codons. Again, we have the most advanced codons in the multiverse. We are going to be guardians, overseers, and gods and goddesses overseeing new creations, new universes. So we are going to eventually play the role of gods and goddesses as we oversee the development of new worlds, galaxies, and universes. So that's what's going to be happening after the ascension. Yeah.
I can feel it. I can feel the shift happening. So that was kind of all the questions I had. What else do you want to expand on? Otherwise, we can go into people's questions that they've been asking.
Yes. Right now, it seems like things are getting crazy out there. We have all of a sudden AI is emerging. In the last 2 months, I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems like people are really they're using AI to now take over their work. They already have these AI police dogs that are just coming out everywhere.
I did not hear that.
Yeah, and then of course, through Simi Valley, they already have a technology where they're going to begin to eventually, for those that line up to this, of course, implant some sort of microchip so that people could connect to the internet without using their external devices. So because of that, it's happening. That tells me that the bifurcation of timelines is near. Again, there's going to be a splitting of worlds. Right now, as I speak, it appears that there's like an infinite number of parallel Earths that are coexisting. In terms of polar opposites, in one parallel Earth, we have, the smart cities coming into play. We have the one world system, where everybody becomes connected to the board, which is the negative timeline. Of course, that's the inorganic timeline, right? Those that are playing with the metaverse already and digital reality and augmented reality. Okay, so that's one opposite. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the spiritual community, the light workers, the star seeds. Those that are doing the inner work, activating the dormant DNA, and as a result of that, they're actually causing they're becoming, in other words, as they do the inner work, they're actually activating themselves so that the solar flash could take place, and that's when they're going to pull all the good people into the new positive ascending timeline. So as I speak right now, there's going to be a bifurcation of timelines, and of course we have all these parallel, everything in between, different variations of those two extremes. So the bifurcation of timeline is not my theory. This was actually something that even Dolores Cannon proposed back in the 90s, that there will come a time where there will be a splitting of worlds. And I'm not talking about a physical split. I think the way she said it is it's going to be a split through frequency, where those that are vibrating according to the new frequencies of the age of Aquarius, which is brotherhood, love, unity, harmony, balance, are going to be shifting into the new earth. And that's already happening, because as I speak right now, the new earth that is known as Terra, which was the earth that existed during the times of Atlantis that eventually fell, into this third dimensional earth that we, where everything is so solid, those portals are already reopening up as I speak. So something we did a few days ago is we did a mass meditation. We were able to have a bunch of people worldwide. I think we got over 10,000 people that were focusing their intent to bring about this new golden age. And I think what we did is we shifted and we pulled a lot of good people over into the positive ascending timeline as a result of this massive global meditation that we did last Friday. So as I speak right now, the timeline shift, the bifurcation of worlds is about to take place. So that's what's happening right now, you know. So those that are vibrating in fear, unfortunately, are going to be attracted to the negative timeline, right? Where they see an apocalyptic, you know, end of the world scenario, which is not going to happen in this other timeline where people that are vibrating at a high frequency, that are actually not buying into the fear porn, they're going to be translated as when the stargates open, because the stargates, there are portals, you know, there are, you could say, interdimensional doorways that allow people to enter or shift into the new earth when this takes place. And when the portals open up, that's when the solar flash is going to take place, and then that's when people are going to go into the new earth. So
we all need to raise our vibrations, you guys.
Exactly,
turn off the news.
yeah.
Do you have the meditation on your page somewhere? Or is there somewhere people can access that?
I do. We do have actually 2 meditations. They are both on my IG page as well. So if you guys want to tune in, go ahead.
I was going to say, if those of you who are here, we get new people in and out, so I say this all the time, but make sure you go follow him, you guys. You can just click this arrow down, hit follow on his profile, and find those meditations. I'm assuming they must be in one of your reels or something, or?
Well, we actually broadcasted live on my IG, so I was able to save it. So, you know, it's in my regular feed.
Cool. Yeah, you guys go check that out. Okay, I love that. Yeah, so just make sure that we're all raising our vibe, you guys. So I love doing that through meditation, journaling, channeling, that kind of stuff. I'm going to look in these questions and see.
Sure.
So someone asked, how do we shift? So what are some tips you can give people to shift into this new consciousness?
First and foremost, try to spend at least 20 to 30 minutes a day around nature, whether it's a mountain, an ocean, a beach, a river stream, a lake, or even a national park where there's just a lot of greenery, because the elements are connecting with us. Once again, the telluric, the mineral kingdom, is activating. And so if you spend a lot of time with nature, you're actually securing your ascension into the 5D or 4th, 5, 6D Terra Earth, because that's what the Terra Earth is all about. And the Terra Earth, everything is restored back to the organic way of life, you know, so we do it through nature. Secondly, be careful with not only with what you eat, all right, make sure you stay away from genetically modified processed foods, drink a lot of water, and also be careful with what you put in your head, equally important. What are you entertaining your thoughts with on a daily basis? Because whatever you choose to listen to will also have an effect of whether you transition into the positive ascending earth that is splitting from the old earth, or if whether you're going to stay behind, you know. So, and then thirdly, don't forget to take at least 20 to 30 minutes a day to meditate, to pray. You know, it doesn't matter what you believe in. There is something divine. Whatever that divine thing is to you, which is what we call in the spiritual community God, divine source consciousness, you know, pure energy. Take 20 to 30 minutes a day to devote your time, and so that you could, you know, have that personal connection to whatever it is, that higher power. And those are my tips. You know, if you do those on a daily basis, you will secure your ascension.
Yeah, so just to run it back, get outside, you guys. Make sure you're putting good things into your brain. Turn off, you know, the bad music, and really pay attention to the, even with background music, I've noticed if there's something, you know, even if you're not really technically paying close attention to it, if it's playing in the background, it gets into your subconscious. So just watch what you're listening to, watch what you're eating, and make sure you meditate and check in with yourself. So, okay, that was a good little tips for these guys. Are you sure? How sure are you of the downloads you've gotten when it comes to you being a starseed?
Well, that's an inner knowing, you know. That's something that you either know your whole life. It's like, how can you explain, you know, love when you're in love with somebody? That's just an inner knowing. That's just something that you know. So I could assure you that because of the fact that you were attracted to this life, you are also a starseed, whether you know it or not. You know, there's millions of us now. I think over 60 million starseeds. which most are already adults, you know, I would say about 70% of them are adults.
Yeah. So. You're definitely here for a reason if you're watching. Okay, how can we share our message without preaching? Any advice? So for people that are trying to help others come along?
We teach through example. You know, what kind of a person are you on your daily interactions with others, your character? Are you a reactor or are you an observer? You know, people analyze your character. Just remember that. We teach through example. People become inspired by your frequency, because if you are in a high elevated frequency throughout the day, in other words, if you're like a very positive person who does not react to circumstances, people actually are attracted to that, you know, people in lower consciousness. So we do it through example, you know, keep your energy high and just always be the best version of yourself in every given circumstance. And trust me, you will somehow subconsciously activate people energetically. You don't even have to say nothing. Just your mere energy alone will be sufficient enough to elevate somebody else's energy. That's how powerful our frequency is, guys. And as a starseed, you have to remember that we come with a higher influx of vibrational frequencies than the rest of the Earth Terrans, you know, because we are the older souls. We do come from, you know, beyond the 5th dimension. Some of us come from the 12th dimension and everything in between, of course. So just your mere frequency alone is sufficient enough to help elevate the consciousness of another human that is still, you know, heavily under the program or just still not getting it yet.
Love it. Okay. Is there a way to reach out or communicate with our avatars, or perhaps even become them briefly?
Oh, there is actually. I actually teach 2 advanced meditations. I teach an online course. It's called Starseed Cosmology course. And in that course, I give you about 20 years of cosmic and galactic history. We go over all the dimensions all the way to the 12. We go over chakras all the way to the 12. And then at the end of the 3rd course, I teach you my 2 methods that have allowed me to access my Akashic records, my different avatars, different higher levels of reality. So yeah, if you guys want to sign up for my course, I do also teach an online course that is called Starseed Cosmology course. And what I could do is I could actually give you the link for that as well, for those that might be interested to see, you know, if they are a starseed, and if so, where do they come from? What are the different starseed races, which we go over in class 1, of course. I do teach. I'm one of the online professors when it comes to the mysticarts.org. So if you guys go to the website, themysticarts.org, I teach the Starseed Cosmology course. And then, of course, I give you the link as well.
Yeah, amazing. I want to check that out. That sounds so cool, because I'm really into all this stuff, but I'm still very new. So, okay, so this question we can just direct them to your classes, but someone said, how would a starseed know what planet they're from?
Well, what we do in my classes, we go over, like, I think over 15 or 20 different star races, which are the most prominent ones in our universe. And based on describing their characteristics, qualities, and what they are and where they come from, you will feel a resonance to one or the other. And sometimes we're a combination, we're a hybrid of different star races. Like, for instance, I come to discover that originally I am from Lyra, from the Vega star system, from a planet called Avion, but I also had a lifetime in Sirius B. And I also had a lifetime in Taygeta, and I also had a lifetime in Lemuria and Atlantis. So, you know, sometimes we're more than just one star race. We're a combination of different star races. So
you probably just have to pay attention to your energy when you hear about one or the other, right? And how you feel. Exactly. Really feeling into things. I've been learning to do a lot more, which it works when you start to pay attention. Someone said, please talk about the animals. Will they be liberated? They suffer a lot right now. Absolutely. Everything on this planet is ascending. So suffering as we know it is coming to an end, not just for humans, but for every animal, for every living thing. In fact, the entire ecosystem in the new Terra Earth is totally intact, as if the industrialization programs never took place, pollution never took place, chemtrails never took place. Everything is going to be restored, guys. The Earth as a living entity is going to be purging itself from all the negativity. It's almost like
think about it this way, like when we undergo detox, okay, so the earth is actually undergoing her own way of detoxing from all the bad stuff. So that's why all, tsunamis and earthquakes are necessary, because it's part of her releasing those lower densities that have been suppressing her and hurting her for I would say for hundreds of years, ever since the industrialization programs, right, that pollute the atmosphere, that cut the rainforest. All that stuff is going to be reversed, guys. The ecosystem is going to be purified. So everything's going to be returning back to its purity.
We got something to look forward to. Someone said, will we transition into 5D this spring? And then there was another question that said, is there going to be a solar flare at the end of March? So kind of same.
Well, things are looking like there could be. However, I'm not going to give an exact date because, nobody really knows when it's going to happen. But based on seeing what is happening in the world right now, especially in the last month, it seems like things are heading into a climax. It looks like this spring could be the great events that we're all been waiting for, right? The new Earth, the birthing of a new Earth. Right,
and I know too, because I'm really into like astrology and planet transits of this galaxy. I don't know much about else, but I know that, I think Saturn is moving from Pisces into Aquarius for the first time since 2020. So same thing with, the ages as a whole. So that's going to shake up a lot of things, I think, for the better, because if you guys don't know, Pisces, the age of Pisces was very like law and order, old school kind of thought processes, and Aquarius is very new age, just into technology and advancement and all that kind of stuff. So there should be big shifts even in this month, which I don't know if it's going to be that big of the shift, like the big shift that we're talking about, but some stuff is definitely changing. I think we can all feel that. Okay, I think looking at the questions here, someone said, have you heard of the Apollonians?
The Apollonians, how do you spell that? A-P-P-O-L, like Apollo, or A-P-P-A-L? Apollo?
O-L.
The Apollonians, I have heard of them. They're a benevolent race, actually. They're not regressive. They're good. And some of them actually they live in the inner earth. By the way, one of the major disclosures as we enter this new earth is our reuniting with our earth brothers and sisters. There's a lot of inner earth civilizations, guys, that have been living there for thousands of years. And these are remnants of ancient civilizations like Lemuria and Atlantis. These are the good people that were not corrupted by the negative Anunnaki when they took over and destroyed Lemuria and then destroyed Atlantis. And they've still been living there for thousands of years in the inner earth. So that's another thing that's going to be a beautiful thing when we reunite with the inner earth civilizations.
So many exciting things. Okay, I think I got through the questions. So, some of you guys, if you had questions that I didn't answer, you have to put them in the question box because there's so many comments. I'm trying to scroll through and see if I missed people's stuff. But what else can you add for us before we get off here? We have like 15 more minutes.
Okay. So, it's very important to pay attention to your thoughts every second of the day. Be mindful. And the reason I'm saying be mindful is because we are co-creators, guys. We are co-creators with divine source energy. And your thoughts, every second of the day is constantly shifting you from one parallel earth to the next. So you want to make sure that you are constantly focusing on the positive ascending timeline. Not only so much your thoughts, but also your emotions. Your emotions are a big part of this. I think it was Dr. Greg Braden as well, but I believe it was Joe Dispenza who says that it's the combination of your thoughts that send out the electricity, and then it's the emotions that magnetizes the electricity. So when you combine your thoughts with your emotions, you're actually creating reality.
That's the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's the secret stuff. They say, the law of attraction is secondary. It's really the law of resonance. It's like, where are you resonating? It's whatever you believe to be already within you. So if you believe in something, you have to already feel it as if you've already attained it. You can't just be asking for it. You have to become it, And that's how we are doing things right now, guys. Is, become, stop thinking, I want to be this person. Become it. just do it. Wake up and say, I am that person. And most importantly, feel it. Because by feeling it, it's like the universe is just attracting that on the spot, spontaneously, by feeling it. Feeling is probably primary, and then the thoughts is secondary. So
yeah, the feeling is definitely primary. I'm super into this stuff. Another book, so Dr. Joe Dispenza, I read Becoming Supernatural last year, and he kind of breaks it all down. It's like very scientific. He has a lot of graphs and stuff, and super good book though, you guys, if you haven't read that. And then also The Power of Awareness, Neville Goddard talks about, you are what you think about, because your emotions it's energy in motion. So whether you're thinking bad things or good things, you're literally attracting to you whatever that is. And so you can't be going into what you want to manifest with like in a fear-based or scarcity mindset, because then you're just going to keep attracting the scarcity that you've been living already. So you really have to, and what my favorite way to do it is, even if you are trying to manifest something that you've never had before, just think about the way that that's going to make you feel, and then think about a memory that you have in your life that makes you feel that same way. So that can help you get there, because you've already experienced it. So you can get to the emotion quickly with something you've already experienced. And then by keeping that and maintaining that emotion, you're going to draw to yourself the thing that you want. So that's what I do a lot. And what helps me is music. I have, different classical songs that really help me get into this feeling and attracting to me what I want. And it just like really heightens my emotion. So definitely start doing that kind of stuff. Let's see. Going through these. Somebody said, can we talk about synchronicity? What do you know about synchronicity?
Well, that has a lot to do with your vibration and what you're attracting. You will attract the right people in your life that you need, that are going to be aligning with your mission, your life's purpose. That's what synchronicity is. It's also, learning to just surrender and let it go. Instead of trying instead of trying to go out there and be in the state of like where you're trying to catch something. No, just surrender and allow things to just come to you based on your vibration. Things will align in your way. You will be interacting and meeting the right people. If you're in the right state of vibration, everything's going to be unfolding. All things are going to come to you. You don't need to go, search or capture. You can just stay still, and things will just fall into place for you as long as you're vibrating at the right frequency. That's how the universe works, because ultimately, guys, we are the universe. One of the greatest discoveries in the 21st century is quantum physics. And you know why? Because quantum physics tells you how it is, tells you how everything really is. Newtonian mechanics is definitely inaccurate when it comes to how things really work. At the subatomic level of reality, everything is pure energy. We live in an ocean of energy. So, and then also, we are part of a holographic universe where even the part contains the whole. So what does that mean? You are the universe. There's nothing to attain externally or outside of yourself. Everything is within you. As long as you are able to sit down and really realize that, everything comes and just falls in your lap for you. You don't have to go out there and try to capture it.
Yeah, and someone said synchronicity is always there. It's up to you to see it. And I agree with that, because, the universe speaks to you through numbers, through animals. I always notice things. I always get if I'm supposed to receive a certain message, I always get it from multiple sources saying the same thing. So if I notice somebody in a reel saying something, and then somebody will be talking to me about the same thing, or I'll notice somebody else, I'm like, okay, this is coming at me from all multiple angles. I just had last week, my friend Wafik gifted me some crystals, and he sent me a mermaid tail. And then I was at my cousin's, and she gifted me a tea towel with a mermaid on it. And then my son's grandma gave me a pen with a mermaid tail on it. I'm like, why are all these people sending me mermaids? So then I'm like, okay, this is a sign. What is, and I kind of had to dig a little deeper on what the symbolism is and stuff. So just be aware of what's happening to you, and the numbers that you see and the times that you see them. And seeing numbers at the time on the clock. But numbers are huge for me. And even with the amount of likes you get on a video, or the time on the microwave, or things like that, the amount of money you have in your bank account, sometimes you'll see synchronicities there. It's just all about noticing that kind of stuff, and really paying attention to what it might mean. Okay. And
some of these numbers are actually indicators that the universe is trying to make us aware of something. 1111, 444, 333, 222. 555. I mean, these are all indicators that you are on the right path. You know, they're just, all it is just reassuring you. So bear in mind that sometimes through numbers, the universe speaks to us.
Yes, exactly. Especially if we are technically in a matrix. The matrix is built on numbers, you know? So you have to notice that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I think that is
okay.
a 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0 or something.
Yes, I think it's 00110. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Something like
I don't know the exact order, but I've seen
that's
that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the code in which this reality, you know, is structured from.
Yes, exactly. Okay, I'm going to see if there's any more good questions in here. Someone said, I had 3 people recommend Joe Dispenza. I mean, I love him. He opened my brain to a lot of things, so definitely read his books. One of my favorites. We don't really have any more good questions in here. So we're coming up on an hour. We can let you go if you got stuff to do. I know you're a busy guy. But thank you so much for going live with us. I hope everyone here got value. You guys smash the heart button again. Make sure you're following him if you came on a little later. And I'll tag you in my caption, and I'll add you as a collaborator so you can add it to your page as well.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So we can all just
don't forget
absorb the info. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
And by the way, what I'm going to do is I actually have the link to the 2nd edition on my Instagram page in my bio. So if you go on my bio, my profile, and you click the link to Amazon, it'll take you directly to the 2nd edition. So you guys want to make sure you guys get the 2nd edition because it's better than the 1st edition. It's got that added chapter that reveals what happens after the ascension.
Yes. Okay. Let's all go read that book together, and we'll let him know what we think and all the things that we learned, and thank him for sharing his knowledge.
Chẳng được quên khi cơn mưa đêm lại về. Em đã quên lời thề và ta như đông chìm sâu. Không còn mơ em anh nhận màu. Em chỉ cần mơ đâu em bay. Chỉ còn là những cơn mưa vô giá. Cho bên mơ em không mơ ai. Anh một đêm mơ. Chỉ cần bên em không được cần nhớ. Và chỉ khôi không còn nhớ. Và người ta bên nhau như ngã tớ. Muốn nhớ về say em chỉ có mấy em ở đây. Và anh như muốn chết đi nhưng không muốn em mơ mày. Tình yêu làm cho ta đau đầu. Không em như nằm mơ màu. Anh như đứa mong cầu. Và mưa bên em ngô sầu. Chào các bạn mai em mơ. Chỉ có bên em nhưng là khó mơ. Em ở đâu ra em muốn bên ai. Anh không mong gì hơn. Chỉ mong em sẽ ở đây ôm anh thật gần. Anh chỉ mong đôi ta được có nhau. Và đừng em đâu anh có em. Muốn ở bên anh có em. Ta sẽ trao nhau môi hôn thật sâu. Ôm anh.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
yeah, I'm about to fade away. Cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby, have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile.